In this episode of the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast, we're talking about hip-hop music. Is it really progressing or is it kind of just stagnant these days? We're going to talk about what we can do to get the music to get better. Check it out.
Arkatech Beatz.
What's up, everybody? It's the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. We are your hosts, platinum producers, Arkatech Beatz. I'm Juggernaut.
I am Mike Trauma D.
And we make the super duper group Arkatech Beatz. If it's your first time here, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribing to the channel, to the podcast. And we wanted to get into an interesting topic today, really just talking about music. Or we were just talking about the state of hip hop in general. And we were like, man, there's nothing to listen to. Right? That was the main complaint. And people would say, well, what you mean? There's all this music out. And we were really contending that the music that's coming out has been, I would say less than stellar. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Now, are we just showing our age? Or is it just, or is the music really that bad? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, that's a very good point, man. Is it an age thing? Is it a maturity thing? Or is it just knowing good music, being around good music, and then not having good music? There are a lot of changes that happened over the years, over the decade, actually, between, especially with technology. Is technology part of it? It's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions. Are artists, are they growing? Are they reaching their potential? Are they utilizing the people with experience? Or are they really tapping in to their talents? Or is A&Rs even searching for the gems? Are they really out there looking for talent? Or are they just sitting behind the desk looking at numbers? So I think there's a lot of different things going on.
I'm wondering sometimes if we're jaded, right? And when I say that we're jaded, meaning I wonder if we are kind of biased because of the simple fact that the era that we came up in and what it took to become a high level artist. It took so much for you to become an artist that was respected in the music industry. And you had to do certain things with your music, and you just couldn't just, put certain things out and to see how it went. And, the fans wouldn't react to it. You would flop, it wouldn't be a situation where people would just have this, cult influential following. And I just see a lot of marginal music. And I'm just asking myself, for example, I hear music out there and I would say, okay, if such and such wasn't on this track, is it even good?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of instances where you hear this music where it's hey, if this track didn't have ABC artists, it wouldn't even be good.
Well, that's the power. Well, that's the power of the feature. So that's a conversation itself. But to what you're saying, we've been around artists that they kind of understood history of hip hop, I should say. There was a time where you had to be, if you called yourself an MC, or you claimed you did this professionally, you got checked for it. Artists will check you. They'll come to your shows, or they'll bump into you, or can you really spit? Can you really rap? There's no gatekeepers anymore, Chuck. There's no, can this person really, does it take this? There's none of that anymore. It's kind of like it's a free-for-all. Anybody could get in, anybody could get online, anybody could make a beat, anybody could rap, put some words together. I heard something the other day. I'm not gonna say the artist's name, but couple people DM'd me and was like, you know, this female artist, this new female artist, this is it's trash. Like, what is this? Well, they highlighted some bars, and and it was just really like uh it was really an issue for me. Like what are you saying? What is this? Like it was so dumb. It was so dumbed down. Like it's not. It's almost like it wasn't a rap. Like you're not even trying. You're just taking words that rhyme and smacking them together to see and just putting it out.
But that's the problem, bro. It's like that. It's not. It's not. In some cases, it's not even good songs. Like that's really what my problem is right now. Like there's not like in hip hop. There's always been situations where you have songs that create moments,
Right.
and I don't see enough of that happening anymore. Like and I don't know if it's because of the way content is consumed now, or if the music is really just that bad. It's like I just don't see like the moments that are being made with records that used to be made. Like, yo, this is that. You know what I mean? Like that's that joint. You know what I'm saying? And you might have a few little flashes that come out, like um, Ice Spice with the Munch. You know what I mean? And then you got a few other joints that a few other people that just coming out, Glorilla. With a few joints that have that but it's kind of like I don't really see that those songs like really like standing the test of time. And I think that's really how I'm trying to gauge it. Like, okay, will this song be played in 5 years, in 6 years? Will we still have that same feeling? Because it's funny that you can go back to some of these other songs that were created by some of our, quote unquote legacy artists. And as soon as you play them, you're gonna get the same response it was when you first came out with them.
I'm gonna say this. Then, if it's that argument, then it's definitely an age thing. Then, ask a teenager, what they feel about the records that's out now, because they don't necessarily have um those prior records. They didn't grow up in that time. They didn't have those experiences, you know. So you're gonna have to ask a teenager, like in another 5 years, the records that came out now, what did it do for them? Maybe they remember what it was like being in high school and some of the Munch record and all these other records that came out, like what it did for them at that time. Like it could be an age thing, you know. So we can't really knock it. And I always say that some of these records that's coming out now is not for our generation.
You see, I don't like that. I don't like that situation where we say it's not for our generation. It's like
Let's be clear. If you're 40 plus and you listen to a 15-year-old rapping, how is that record for you?
It depends, right? Because I'm gonna tell people something that they may not like, but um it's I've stopped listening to records content for a long time. My meaning, like I don't listen for the context of the records anymore. Like I haven't done that in a long time. And I think the reason why because of this, the reason for that is because when you're a native New Yorker and you come from lyrics, right? Lyrics always had to mean something, add up. You had to have this type of lyricism, double entendres, blah blah blah. Oh my God, did you hear what he said with these words and da 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 da. Once I relocated, that we weren't getting that. Right? Let's just be honest. We weren't getting that.
That's the time, but that's the time you got to be clear. That's the time where New York rap was no longer the dominant.
Right. So we're not getting it anymore. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now what we start listening for is we start listening for beats. We start listening for cadences. We start listening for melodies.
Right.
We start looking for things that are catchy, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So even from that vantage point, it's not sounding the same. Even if I'm removing context. So if I remove context, so age shouldn't be a factor now, because I'm not even talking about anything that's age related. We're talking about simple melodies, simple hooks. We're talking about beats that bang or bump or have a feeling or a groove. And that's not occurring anymore. Like, you know, I'm not hearing that. I'm not hearing that, and I'm not getting those feelings. And I'm not like, yo, where is that? You know, where is that big record that bounces, or that big record? Like, there are some drill records that, you know, that bounce. You know, some records that move a certain type of way. Like, and you're gonna hear them every now and again. But it's like you don't have them standouts, right? I took my kids to go see the Spider-Verse, across the Spider-Verse the other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, of course, I'm playing the soundtrack, and I'm listening to the soundtrack, and it's, you know, and I'm like, where's the Sunflower record? It's not there, right? It's not the Sunflower from the first album, right? It's not there. And then my kids are listening to it, and they're like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, because it don't have, you know, the Sunflower.
Mm-hmm.
And in a normal music industry case, the second to a movie, the secondary installment to a movie would always have that big record. Like, let's say, for example, you're looking at, maybe say, you know, I can't really compare the two, but they're not kids records. But say, for example, you're going 007. Every time a 007 record come out, it got that big song, right? Mm-hmm. One might be Adele. Right. The other one might be Diamonds Are Forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you will always have that big record, and the studio is not going to release this soundtrack if it don't have that big record to go with it every time. And I'm like, yo, where's the big record on the Spider-Verse joint? Because it was going to do better than the first movie, because it was a phenomenal movie. But where's that Post Malone record with Sway Lee on it? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where is it? It's not on there. You know what I'm saying? There's one record that's kind of, it's good, but it ain't that. You know what I'm saying? And then if you listen to everything else, it's like, yo, this is kind of marginal. No, not the Metro. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of like, there's nothing that quote unquote stands out. If I take off the offsets, if I take off the, you know, if I take off the names off of these records, and I put just say no name guys on these records, none of them will stand out. And it's not because of what they did vocally. It's just the music doesn't stand out. And I think that's where we're losing a lot of people. It's like, it's not standing out anymore. What happened to the beats that used to stand out? Like, there was like, the music used to be undeniable, and then before you then got a hook or something that was dope on top of that, then it was like, it took it over the top.
Right.
But now the records are just like, all flat. Like, everything is just.
Well, I think one of the things that has changed over the decade is that producers do not have a sound. Like, you can't listen to a record and be like, yo, that's so and so. Like remember you used to be like, oh, that's Havoc. Oh, that's RZA. Oh, that's Eric Sermon. Oh, that's some Outkast shit right there. That's Dungeon Family. Oh, that's like, there's none of that, you know. There's no lanes where you can grow within your lane and do some, free to be creative in your lane and do some crazy stuff. Now it's just trying to sound like everybody else. Everybody's mixing and matching the same packs. Everybody sounds the same. Too many collaborations, and you would think that the collaborations would bring more creativity. But in a lot of cases, it's more like, it seems like everybody's doing the safe thing, following the last record that did well. There's nobody reaching out the box to do something new, crazy, and inspiring at all. And we've been kind of on this playing field for quite a while. There's nothing outstanding. There's good records. There's cool records. There's records like, oh, that's a good record. That's a dope record. You know, but there's nothing that really, in my opinion, gets you out of your seat. Like, my goodness, did you hear this? Like, you know, and
That's what I'm looking for. You know, you normally would get that at least once a year.
Yeah, especially for the summer. You got
Yeah,
a summer
you would
record.
normally get that once a year, twice a year. Like, yo, did you hear that? Like, and it defies age, man. Like, I think sometimes people like, oh, it's age. Like, nah, man, it defies age, man.
That's the
You know what I'm
question.
saying?
But that's the question though. And maybe we should you know, take some polls, maybe get into the comments, um and see what what others are saying, man. You know, all age brackets, man. We really want to, you know, hear the people out on this one. Um, is it the age thing? You know, because what if a 15-year-old or 16-year-old is saying, "Yo, this music is incredible. Oh my God!" Like we don't. What if they're saying that? You know, what if they feel that way?
I mean, listen, it's like they can only make their assessment based on what they've been exposed to.
That's
And
my point.
I'm not gonna knock that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna knock that. You know, it's funny because it's like when you say that, it's because, you know, my kids have had a lot of recent reaction to Michael Jackson, right? We're going back, and you know, everybody got to kind of go through that Michael Jackson phase. But you know, you'll be surprised how that kind of sets the bar for what kind of music they enjoy.
I'm gonna say this, and some people may be offended by this, so I'm gonna be careful. But I also think that the music has a correlation to one's education level. Like, especially when it comes to artist content, especially when it comes to creating. If you can't finish school and you're not able to articulate yourself a proper way, like how are you going to, you know, come up with some crazy bars, also thought-provoking things? I mean, true say there are some individuals that have not completed certain education, whatever, and they're top notch. But those are special gifted artists. That does not apply for everyone. But you really got some dumb MFs trying to get on the mic, trying to say something, and they're saying a whole lot of like silliness. Their age is actually showing. Their immaturity is showing. Like, this is the topic you choose to write about. Like this is, and then the worst part is, you have the consumers listening to this, and some of them are dumb or immature or whatever. I'm just gonna say that as they
say it. Go ahead, talk that talk.
And they're gonna eat this stuff up, but they have not matured. Like, they don't realize, like, yo, this ain't it. You're not supposed to be celebrating that. This is not something you're supposed to be flaunting and proud of. Some of the topics that you're talking about.
But again, to your point, what can you tell people who don't know better? They just don't know better. Like, you know what I'm saying? And this is part of the situation in the industry that has just gone totally awry. It's like we are supposed to be able to. I blame a lot of us in our age bracket, and I blame us because we didn't do enough reaching back and didn't do enough saying, okay, cultivating of the next situation. It's like we kind of let them fend for themselves. And now that they've, you know, figured out their algorithmic cheat codes to become popular, they like, you know, forget your standards. Whatever you guys were talking about, we don't care about that.
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's also they have the ability to get online, and there's no gatekeepers.
No,
there's none. So an ignorant artist is free to say whatever nonsense they want to say, and they have the means to be able to put it out. You know, it's like when Kanye put out that Poopity Scoop record. You could just put it out.
Yeah. But that really was a social experiment.
Right, but that's what, right.
It was him showing that, hey, he who he was, he could put out anything and people would still think he was hot.
But here's the flip
because
side.
he was
Anybody
basically showing people were brainwashed.
But here's the flip side. Anybody could put out something and people will okay, like you shouldn't be able to put out nonsense. But if I say that, oh, you're censoring, oh, freedom of this, freedom of that. So it's a fine line.
I think what's supposed to happen in that case is that yeah, you're free to put it out, but the market has the freedom to reject it.
But
And
what
I think because we haven't educated the market, or I think because the market, before we used to have the market used to dictate what it wanted to hear, and I think some people say we were programming the market to a degree, and now the market is no longer programmable. The market is now free thinking, and the market can choose what it wants to choose. Um, I can't really say too much about it like that. It's like people can put out whatever they want to put out, and to your point, some of them folks it's dumbed down. Some of it doesn't make sense to me. But it's not made for me to not supposed to make sense to me. It's not made for me, I guess, in that context.
I'll say this: if a person puts out what we consider a degrading record, a record talking about whether it's guns, whether violence, sex, just in detail,
Just regular hip hop.
you know, but people in that same situation or who think in that same way are going to gravitate to it. And that's a large base, especially with the way society is now. Like our educational system has failed. So we have a large amount of people, kids, that are in bad environments. They have no role models. I think this is a whole lot bigger than just music. I think this is reflective of what's going on in society, what's going on in our communities, and it's just turning around and feeding each other. So when someone comes out with an ignorant ass record, it's feeding the ignorant ass folks because of the situation they're in, and they promote it. They go and rally behind it. They get all of the streams because those folks are supporting those records. In addition to the people who have the agenda.
I would say more so it's just the agenda more than anything else. Because and I know that the folks that are behind the socials, they have to green light what goes. If they don't green light it, it don't go. You know what I'm saying? You can post 1,000 times, 10,000 times. If the folks don't green light your situation, if the folks don't unthrottle your situation and make you go to the mass, you're not going to reach nobody. You know what I'm saying? So there's a concerted effort to make sure that the negative situation rises to the top. Like that is it's by design. It's not like, it's not a mistake.
Right.
So we can basically see like some of the most talentless folks really getting that push. And you say, why are they pushing this particular type of artist? Why does the artist have to have this type of look?
Right.
Why does the artist have to portray this type of,
right?
And then the attention is being now, why is the floodgates open for this type of art?
For this, I mean, but let's be clear though. All through hip hop, there's always had violence, always had sex, always drugs. We've always had that, but it seems like it's to the extreme, and that's all there is. You'll get a sprinkle of a J. Cole in between, but for the most part, if you're not doing one of those topics, if you're not doing one of those contents, it's it's difficult, it seems, to thrive. You know, you got women now that will only do certain kinds of music, and it seems like they're getting ahead by doing that music. They seem like they're getting ahead on viral content videos because they're behaving in a particular manner. Whether it's every time this female raps, she has to bend over every time.
And they should just rebrand it and just call it OnlyFans Hip Hop.
Every time this rap, every time
Just
this
rebrand
rapper,
it.
every time this rapper raps, he has to put a gun up or put his two fingers up like he's shooting. It's like, okay, over and over. Then it makes you wonder, you know, when celebrities and artists that's in better positions, you know, basketball players who get themselves into trouble, then you start to wonder, is it the music? Is the music inspiring to keep this type of behavior
Of course.
over and over again?
Of course. The music is what puts us into psychosis to begin with. You know that, and I know that. It's trance-like, man. You guys know that. You know, beats and drums and stuff like that are trance-like, put people into trances, make people do silly stuff. It's been like that. It's not a, you know, this is a known fact that we can basically, you know, change your behavior with music.
So what do you think?
Change your mood with music. It's a known fact, man.
What do you think needs to be done? Like, how does an artist cut through all of that nonsense? For artists, look, I don't want to be like that. I'm not about that lifestyle. You know, I should be able to put out good music without having to, you know, stoop to that level or do some of those things. You know, I should be able to be successful. You
So
know,
what does an artist do? They put the music out and then they promote it.
but I think it's more than just that.
And hold on, and then they got to see who resonates.
Mm-hmm.
And then whoever it resonates with, then you see what those people are about, and then you ask those people to, you know, like and share, and to find more like-minded people. Like, listen, like, you know, everything is not for everybody, and it takes us a long time to realize that. I think as musicians, as producers and so forth and so on, I think we want our music to go everywhere. We want everybody to love what it is that we're doing. It's just not possible.
Right.
Everybody doesn't like ketchup. Everybody doesn't like, even though you would think it's a condiment that everybody should love and enjoy, everybody doesn't like chocolate. Yeah. Everybody doesn't like vanilla. You know what I mean? Like, it's the situation. It's this is how it is. It's like, that's why there's variations. So I think what this has to happen in our business is that we have to start being dedicated to being conscious about making things different, right? And then there's also a comfort level. Like, hey, it's you know, it's easier for me to do a trap record versus for me to do, you know, the hip hop that we grew up on. That's a lot harder to do before, because, you know, it requires us to dig, find samples. It requires me to you know, reconstruct samples, sometimes play on top of samples, you know, do certain things. Whereas with the other situations, that don't require that much thought process into it, because there are so many different, you know, tools to help you move it along so much faster.
Right.
And it's just different, you know what I'm saying? But we have to challenge ourselves. And I think there's a lot of complacency. I think the music industry has now they found an ROI template, right? It's like, okay, we have found a way to get a return on our investment. As long as we make it like this, you know, and it has these elements, it will give us some sort of return on our investment. If we go outside of this box, now we're taking a risk.
Right.
Because now we have the algorithm, we have this, and we have the data and stuff to support what can make a record successful based on these factors. So if the record has this, you know, say the record has this producer, has, you know, this artist with this particular feature, we can guarantee ourselves, you know, this many million streams. Okay, all we do is keep the budget low, and we can get a return.
It sounds like AI
Business, right?
AI record label.
Pretty much, that's coming, but it's business as usual, man. Like you're taking think about this though, man. Think about how volatile the music business has been over the last 20 years. You trying to tell me that I can make a volatile business stable? I figured it out to make a volatile business stable through algorithmic playlisting, through predictive programming. Like I can now make it stable. Like that's the plan, man. It's like, these guys don't like to take any risk, man. Like these guys like to play with the, they don't want to play against the house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So when I see music just kind of not elevating, it's like, cause it's not supposed to.
Well, according to the situation that they have laid out.
Right. It's not supposed to, because that's too risky. It's too risky, man. Like it's too risky. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's too risky for me to get, an artist that really stands out from all of these artists. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Because when you do that, there's no blueprint. There's no but in reality, what happens is hip hop creativity gets hurt, as a whole. We can't push this forward.
But we're supposed to, like, and I know we're supposed to get a special person like at least once a year, man. Somebody that comes out that just changes it all. You know what I'm saying? Like you got your Gucci's, or you got your, somebody, your Tip, you know what I'm saying? Jeezy, you know what I'm saying? Luda, like you gotta have that, you know what I mean? Like you're supposed to have that person that's like, yo, this guy's kind of nice. We haven't had that really since they canceled the Baby and Lil Baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like those are the last two. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't really count Dirk because he was signed before them. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Like you got maybe the little NBA young boy, but that's again, like who's the guy this year? Who's the guy last year?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
girl.
Or girl. I guess it's a girl. I guess,
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the new situation now, is to try to make them as big as the guys. But and I know it's just not the same. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can put that to the forefront, but it's not the same. It doesn't it's not the same. It just isn't. Like
It doesn't resonate the same.
No, it doesn't. And I think what happens is that in order for it to continue to keep market share, you're gonna have to turn out a guy. Like I know that this seems like everything right now is like, okay, there's a lot of females out here doing their thing, but you have to realize that men are consumers too. And
right.
and men don't really consume that like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can have the situation where women would consume both, but men don't consume it that way.
Wasn't it considered that women are the purchasing power when it comes to music?
Yeah, they try to listen, man. There's a lot of I think it's all bullshit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like people, I think it's bullshit, and I think you can take a situation like the WNBA and say, yeah, okay, women got purchasing power. Okay, prove it. They don't support their shit. You know that, and I know that. They support men's shit.
That's true. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that's what it is. So, listen, I love Lil' Kim. I love Foxy Brown,
Lauryn Hill.
But I didn't buy those albums.
Yeah.
My wife might have bought them, but I didn't buy them. You understand what I'm saying? I might have listened to them because we was in the same car. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I didn't buy them. You know what I'm saying? So we got to really look at it for really what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's not some kind of vibe with what you identify with.
Yeah. Like you gotta look at it for what it is. Like you know what I'm saying? Like we're not running out of our way to buy it, and it's not that and I'm gonna sit here and I will tell you that, some of the music that Foxy and them put out was some of the illest. Kim and them was some of the illest. No,
Right.
And if they on that record, it's not if they on that I Shot You, man, we love it. If you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Man,
you know what I'm saying? If she's on that record with Biggie, I love it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But people will say, well, oh, you just don't want to buy it. Nah, it's just don't resonate with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? No Bud Light here. You know what I mean? And it's just like, that's what it is. You know what I mean? That's what it is. And so, everybody got to do them. So at the end of the day, it's like I'm just looking at that situation, and it's like, yo, you're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to move the needle forward. Because look, I understand that you're trying to give the ladies a turn, but y'all have to make sure that people have to realize that you're not going to be able to, you're not going to move that whole thing forward if you don't, if there's no guys coming out, like
Yeah.
like guys got to come out, but
They ain't no guys coming out. Like, who's coming out?
but for a minute the guys was getting killed, bro. That's another thing that we ain't really talk about. Yeah, a lot of guys was getting murdered, bro. So it was like, it wasn't like we had some guys that had some prominent futures that just ain't make it.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's really so
some artists that like, even like someone like Pop Smoke, like his music was different.
Just ain't get a chance.
The way he sounded on his records, some of the harmonizing and the rap, it was just totally like stood out from anything that was done before, and he was just cut down, unfortunately.
So you got a lot of guys that just ain't get a chance, you know what I'm saying, because of what's going on in terms of just how bad things are. You know what I'm saying? And I think that might be hurting too, bro. I think a lot of people might be second guessing getting into rap because of that.
Yeah. At least the talented ones.
Yeah, right. The quote unquote the smart ones. You know what I'm saying? If you're smart, you're like, that risk ain't worth that reward. You know what I'm saying? That risk ain't worth that. That's the thing I'm saying. Like, that risk ain't worth that reward. Like, a lot of guys are probably looking at it and like, that risk ain't worth that reward.
You absolutely right. Because of a lot of artists within the last 5 years, man, were taken from us, man.
Left and right. Every month. So every month somebody was being taken out. The open season, you know what I'm saying? So now we was kind of like, okay, it's like you didn't have any choice but to listen to your legacy artists because the new artist was getting chopped down. And it was like, it was really a bad situation. But that goes back to what you were saying too. What's that? You're getting chopped down because it might be the situation and the type of music that you're doing. Or the environment that you're in, because you do, the environment that you're in begets the kind of music that you're going to make. And then that now turns itself into like a revolving little cycle.
Yeah. It's like it turns around to come and bite you.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think Lil Durk realizes that because he's changing his music in a sense. But time will tell.
I think a lot of it is very, very strategic. I think a lot of it is to avoid legal action. If I'm being honest, the only way to change your narrative is to start to do, the community work and start doing that through your music so that you can take the feds off of you.
Right.
But you know how this thing goes, man. When them bodies start falling, man, they're coming. There's nothing that you can really, there's no way to get them off of you.
So what's the artist, this is the Music Business Podcast, Arkatech Beatz. What does the artist need to do, man, to kind of stand out and kind of make sure they're putting out some music, some content that's going to push this thing forward? Do they need to study the game? Do they need to, consult different producers and try and find that right match, that right sound? Do they need to take more risks and not trying to sound like the others? Or
I think it's a combination of all of that. Like when we talk about it in this platform, it's a combination of studying what works. Like and listen, not studying what works from a viral standpoint, like studying what works with music that really stands the test of time.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If we're talking about Nas and Biggie, I could be talking about Soldier Boy, for God's sake. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are certain songs with him that is going to stand the test of time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that what tells you that that music is good. You see what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to be a certain type of artist or a certain type of genre for it to be good music. But you have to make sure that we're looking at musicality. How does the music marry together with the production?
Mhm.
What are we talking about? Right?
Content.
The melodies
Mhm.
and really where it can be consumed. Right? Are we making party music? Are we making barbecue music? Are we making, you know what I'm saying? Are we making
Right.
driving music? Like, these are the things that are going to make the differences in terms of how your music can continue to kind of, run up. And I think if you're trying to do something um that's not trendy,
Mhm.
while that could be challenging, there's ways for you to take what's trendy and then take what's legacy,
Mhm.
merge it together, and create something new.
Okay.
Like, okay, that reminds me of this,
Right.
but it's not that.
But it's not. Right. I think one of my biggest problems is that there's a lot of new artists that don't respect the essence of hip hop, and some may say, well, why do we have to? Or why do I have to know that? Why do I have
Because
to?
then you won't last, and that's the situation with them, and they won't last. If you look at other genres of music, let's take example that the Ed Sheerans of the world,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
And you see he just beat the lawsuit
Hmm.
for the Marvin Gaye situation.
Hmm.
It's the same thing I just said. It reminds you of that.
Right.
It doesn't sound
No,
like that.
right. Right.
And the only way that you can do that is to be truly educated through the past of what good music is, or music
Right.
that has withstood the test of time.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So he was
Right.
able to be influenced. I don't want to say incorporate because he beat the judge,
Yeah.
right? Right, but he was able to be influenced by past greatness and was able to use that now to formulate his new levels of success now. And
Right.
those songs that he's putting out are gonna stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Period.
Because it taps in to that source. You have to tap into that source, or else, for the most part, it may not stand.
And don't listen, people who are listening, don't let it go over your head. Like, don't let it go over your head. Like honestly, like, you don't let it go over your head. Like, you really need to listen. Like, if you think Drake can do what he's doing without not being a student of the game? No way.
He's clearly a student of the game. He's
No way.
clearly
There's no way. But people don't realize how smart this individual is as an artist. Lil Wayne,
yeah,
Young Thug,
yeah,
like all of these people that you were holding in high regard, who've had these really long-standing careers that last past 10 years. These are students of the game, man. These are not people who are just making music, going to the studio, just, oh, I'm just going to rap today. Bro, you don't last, bro. You might catch a high one,
right,
but you ain't gonna be around next year, like Craig Mack used to say, man. Like, you ain't gonna be around. Like, you know how many studio sessions when we first came to Atlanta, how many artists we would go and see that just ain't around no more?
oh wow, yeah,
They ain't around. Like, they're not around no more, man. Like, this guys that we were going to see, guys that were part of prominent camps that was really pumping,
mhm,
that was really, things that were really going well, and then just off a cliff.
gone,
It's because they was just too concerned with it being regional. They was too they weren't really expanding and didn't really look at what it would take to be have longevity in this situation. Like,
right,
that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the ability to continue to take care of your family, man, over the course of a long time. You don't want to be in this thing, 1 year, 2 years, and then you can't, like,
Some of
you know what I'm
some of
saying?
them were some of them were using this as a quick flip, like another hustle.
I give it to them for that. If that's your intention to take the bread and go jumping into something else, hey man, have at it. You know what I'm saying? But if you're trying to really make a career, you're gonna have to follow certain type of situations, man. Like, like you're gonna have to make music a certain kind of way.
Yeah. You got to know what's
Like,
going on. You gotta do some research. Really.
it was also a very good example of it. Like right now, that's not really recording, but but as a legacy artist like a Ti, like
Okay.
if you think about when he first started, and when he was first signed, and he had the Beanie Man joint, and this is when, like, I think this might be our first time coming out to Atlanta, early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? Like really, really, really early. And some of that stuff didn't work, and then he had to kind of come back, you know, kind of reinvent himself.
Mm-hmm.
Then the rap start changing.
Right.
The lyrics start getting clearer, right?
Mm-hmm.
As
Mm-hmm.
the lyrics start to become more appealing, he started to become what? He started to get more mass appeal.
Yeah.
You know, 2 Chainz. They got a lot of people who just who come back, study what's going on, make adjustments, and find a unique sound, find the right tracks, find their voice in the situation, find the audience that it resonates with, and builds off that. And that's what we're trying to tell these artists now. It's like, listen, you gotta understand, you have to have some intention behind it. You just can't be recording arbitrarily and thinking that something is just gonna catch fire.
Right.
Like, it don't work like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it don't work like that. And even if you think about us in our production, like, how long do we have to sit and make beats and tweak and listen to this guy's music and listen to that guy's music and study and like, God damn it, how did he do this? Like,
Right.
like reverse engineer it. Like, we had to reverse engineer it before we can find our own like little lane.
Yeah. I mean, and what's scary right now is if there isn't any good music coming out, like how do you feel inspired? Like how do you
It doesn't grow, bro.
you
It's the
know?
whole problem. It's like it doesn't grow. There's nothing that makes you want to get into the lab to compete. And then also, I think we've removed the spirit of competition.
Mhm.
I think that's also another problem, but that's for another episode. But they've removed the spirit of competition, where I think you used to have these groups that used to compete, and the music just kept, you know, and people would say, "Hey, Kick in the Door" was about Nas,
Mhm.
you know, like you think, and of course Nas would respond, if you didn't have
Right.
takeover, if you don't have takeover, you don't get either.
Right. 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 Right.
So the spirit of competition is missing, and then that's how you get look at the moments that created.
There's no more iron sharpening iron. None of that.
And more like that. Everybody's kumbaya.
Hmm.
Everybody's not kumbaya. Everybody's like, like again, like we said, healthy competition, man. Talking about out here trying to off each other, ops. like, like that seems to be what has changed. Is everybody has gone that way versus this way. So it's just one of them things. This is Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast, folks. Check us out at www.arkatechbeatz.com. If you haven't already gotten the books, the Songwriter's Guide to Song Registration, also the Ultimate Guide to Forming Your Own Music LLC, and also the Musician's Guide to Music Copyrights. Those are out now. Shout out to everyone that has purchased and or downloaded. We have, moved significant numbers, which, is a testament to us, people showing us that, the information is required, or people want the information, and there's more to come. So we're going to deliver some more resources to make sure that you can navigate this crazy and ridiculous music business.
Yeah. And get in the comments, man. Just let us know what you think about this topic about, where do you think music is right now? Do you think it's stagnant? Do you think it's just fine? It's great? It's the best music? The worst music? Like, we want to hear from you guys. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, are we just old fogies out here talking? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it this, that? I hope I made the right arguments, man. Like, like I said, I think it defies age, man. You know, because I mean, like, you know, like you know, Soldier Boy, like to me, he's got some dope joints that'll stand the test of time. You know what I'm saying? Or this person got some dope joints. NBA YoungBoy, he got some dope joints. You know, Dirk got some joints. You know, like they're, you know, the baby, little baby, they got some joints. Migos, they got some joints. Like there's no, you know, it's to me, it's not an age thing. To me, it's like if it's dope, it's dope. You know, if it's not, then it's like, you know. But I had like I said, I had to get away from the damn. It has to sound like skippity dippity dip dippity. No, you can't like, you know what I'm saying. Like I had to took a minute to really say, damn, like it don't, you know, it don't sound like that anymore. Like, you know, and then you have to ask yourself, okay, are you really just being you know, are you being too old school? Yeah, like old school, you know what I mean?
More mature and stuff.
But yo, let the people know about the NFT project real quick before we get out of here.
Oh yeah. We dropped 5 NFT music, hip hop kids, NFT. You know, go to OpenSea and just search Arkatech Beatz. We got 5 artwork with music, and you know, just get your hands on it and record those beats, send it to us. And if it's good, man, let's talk. Maybe we can do something, man. We go, you know, drop a mixtape, you know, do something. So check it out. Go to OpenSea, search Arkatech Beatz, and we got 5 beats right now with artwork. Check it out, and we're gonna drop some more stuff too. So just stay up.
NFTs are not dead. People are still collectors items out there. You know, NFT is only dead if it don't have utility, and that's not what's happening here. You know what I mean? So definitely check that out. You know, so anything else that we missed on this one?
If not, we'll catch you the next time.
I'll catch you the next one, folks. But until next time,
peace.
Peace out, man. Thanks.
Arkatech.